Hello everyone, and welcome back to another speed draw. I'm your host, Dear Darling Honeyboy, and as usual, I'm just trying to run the nation's worst zombie-themed food truck. And today, in honor of the release of the first episode of BIGTOP BURGER Season 3, I've drawn everyone's favorite burger-selling zombie man, Cesare. Roll the tapes. So, as of recording, the first episode of Season 3 of BIGTOP BURGER, Oven came out like a week ago, maybe a bit more. And I felt like I haven't drawn much BIGTOP BURGER fan art. I did some sketches of Cesare before, like, last year, or the year before that, or something. But I felt like, I should do my thing. I should do my classic thing. And man, I did. I sat down and I did a character portrait with a funky perspective over the span of 14 and a half hours. Bog standard. At this point, it's just the way it is. I thought it was very funny with the sketches. It flew by there, but it really... You're slowly watching him start to face you from standing like from the side, and I just thought it was very funny putting them next to each other. I got this idea of like a pretty like severe perspective, and then I was like, this is what I'm gonna do. I wanted to get this feeling that he was moving, he was on the schmoove with the step, but it was pretty hard, and I think it kind of gets lost in the rendering, no matter how hard I tried. It became kind of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure reminiscent at some point. Also realizing like how severe this man's face is. And I just needed to like work out how much face should I put into this? How do I make it accurate? And I felt like I did. I didn't have way too much beef with his face. I did, however, have a lot of beef with his fucking hair. It's like, how do I draw this? I ended up eventually kind of figuring it out, and it led like to me deciding that I shouldn't do line art, but just like clean up the sketch to keep it as dynamic as possible, because I knew looking at it, I was never going to be able to replicate it with like new lines. So he got to be a bit textured as a treat. But yeah, it was lots of trying to figure out the perspective since I was hung up on it. I really wanted it. So like trying with the hammer and stuff. So yeah, I fussed with it a bit, not too much. It was mostly like I redrew or like made super tiny changes to the folds in the clothing that, by the way, you can't see in the render really. The folds, and then like the torso and arms, I think. Since it's so edited, you can't tell, but man, I spent so much unnecessary time trying to like futzing with the hand holding the hammer. It was perfectly fine a lot of the time. I did also line art the entire body at one point and took it away because I didn't like it. And then I did the same thing again. And then I combined the sketch and the second inking and just kind of smushed them together, trying to figure out which parts were better. But nice with Cesare's design is that he just wears a onesie. It's good and it's bad. I don't have to worry about details, but also like trying to make a onesie look appealing is very hard. But I think I really did my best with it. I think I kind of succeeded, but I got very hung up on like the waist hip region just because I wanted the perspective and the turn. Like I really wanted to look like his hip was rotating and that we're seeing him from above, which is hard. And I think that it's like in periods it works and in other periods it doesn't. The perspective on the hand that's like hanging down was something I was like, oh, that's a great idea. That's gonna be fun. And it wasn't very hard, luckily. When I figured out the hand and such. You saw it back in the sketch, and I do it before I do the flats too. I just add shadows so I can see the 3D shapes, especially since there's like a limited amount of lines I have to work with on the torso and legs. And I was like, the 3D shapes, I wanted them. I feel like I've gotten hung up on that recently, that I feel like my art isn't 3D enough. But I think maybe that's just, the artist thing of being critical of yourself. But yeah, you can see I draw like little arrows to remember like, oh, here's where the light source comes from. It can be a bit hard to do it since it's flat if you want light sources to come from behind and such, but I feel like it's a pretty good hack. It's a good strategy. I also wanted rim lighting, because of course I do. So I thought of having like the hammer as a secondary light source, because in the scene where he pulls it out and it becomes large, it has this very nice pink light with the purple edges, and I liked it so much that it actually ended up being the primary light source. And gave me like a lot of fun things to work with, but with the colors this time, all by my own hand, just flexing that I'm learning. I also like forgot to draw fingernails since I rarely do that, but Cesare has this he has the blue fingernails, the same as around his eyes, and I think it's so charming. I really had to I had to bring it in. Trying to do the color theory stuff with the hammer, I feel like I was like so big brain about, because if you're working on a blue like I did in this one, using like red or other kinds of colors that you would imagine like the brown of the hammer would be, it would just look a lot. So basically I think that's just either very, very desaturated red or just very desaturated in general, because when the standard it's blue, everything with less color will be warm. And I also realized, like, what should I do for the top of the hammer? And then I realized, like, oh, it is explicitly shown that there's a little skull on there too. So of course I had to do it, because if I'm already putting my entire ass into it, why not? But yeah, the background was, I feel like I fought with the background a lot. I didn't want it to pull like too much attention, but using gradients and airbrushes just made it look like shit. So it started out as like a cave corridor, and then I ended up doing the stairs that he walks up in the intro for season 2. And I thought of like having the white cave walls as the background, but it became too visually busy. I really wanted the dramatic light to be a focus there. Using the hammer as the primary light source was very fun to me, because it's like we get on both sides of his face, right? Because the shaft. The handle of the hammer goes up past his shoulder. So that was like, it made it visually interesting. And also getting to have like the shadow being just in the middle of his face just made it look real ominous and dramatic, and I like that. As like inspiration from the light that comes off of the hammer, the pink and the purple, I decided to do the same thing but with the light on him. And it's this thing that I've seen everywhere that is like, oh, you should probably do this because it's looks cool, and people say it's like, right, there's no such thing in art. Having like a more saturated purple on the edge of the pink light on the clothing, because I found out that doing it on the skin just got muddy, so I didn't. Also because this lighting layer is just a normal layer. It isn't an effect layer. No, like, dodge, add, overlay, nothing. I usually do effects layers, but I feel like it turned out very nice just because it made the light source so intense. I was like in and blending the light source all the time with like my 30-30-40 to make it look good, and in the end I was like, and I just went in and corrected it. I just went in with an airbrush and just like moved things around. I usually don't like using airbrushes for shading because it has a tendency to not look as good. But I just feel like, oh god, I need to export this. I need to get done. So I just moved it around a bit to like make it look better. It was mainly the shoulder where he's not holding the hammer, like how much light I should put on it. Because I kind of figured that having less light on it would just like accentuate how far away the hammer is, and yeah, the perspective, the distance, if you may. I think I went over like the entire multiply layer that I had and just like airbrushed it full of shit, except the face, but just like on the 1C in the end to get more contrast. It's like, I don't really know what I was doing in the end, but I just wanted it done. I was like, I'm just gonna do shit. I'm just gonna do some stuff until just gonna do some stuff. I also had like a part of the just initial blob sketching that I did of the light source that I didn't use, like on the face, and I liked how it looked with that in addition, so I just kept it, even though it didn't really make sense. But if you know that you're breaking the rules, you can break the rules. I feel like for artistic effect, I used the like scribbles, the light scribbles that I did in the beginning for the sketch of the light. Just like I did with the sketch, I just decided to keep it because I knew that I wouldn't get like the sparkly feeling, like the nice shapes. I know I couldn't do that intentionally in the way that I had in the sketch, so I just decided to use those instead. And I added that purple. And just Gaussian blurred it. And then I had to like go back and fill in the edges with a bit more of the pink because I didn't realize it was gonna move that much. Yeah, I think the lighting effect is spark effects is something that I haven't worked with much, and I feel like I can be pretty insecure about. But these ones became good. So that's cool. Man, I was fighting with the background a lot. Just wanted it to be like work with the perspective or like accentuate the perspective and not take too much attention. It was a fine balance, and I tripped. Not really, but it could have been better. But also with how good I think the rest of the piece became, it's like fucking whatever. I did want to do some effect layers because I always think effect layers are fun and nice, but I think I end up like not using a lot of it just because it kind of like muddied it out or made it less defined, so I just didn't. I wanted like an extra gradient at the end because I felt like the background was pretty weak. It didn't give me as much of an effect as I wanted it to. So I fucked around with gradients. The first gradient I tried, I had like the wrong color. I had the lighting color, and I didn't realize. So I did it, and I was like, this looks nuts. This is so nice. I have to render the rest of this so fast. Just export it. I should have exported it without rendering like the rest of it just because it looked good, but I was like, I got hurried to render I got hurried to render the rest of it so that I could export it. It was a weird train of thought, but yeah, it looks absolutely nuts, and I love it. I love the purple version. I also did one that's darker, and one that has like two bright sources, a pink and a cyan. I think in the end, I feel like it was worth my time. Kind of. I feel like the background futzing, I did a lot of it, and I don't think it was super necessary, or like it was frustrating at least. But like the hammer and Cesare himself, I'm very happy with, especially the face. I feel like that's my favorite part. I feel like I did like an alright job with the perspective as well. I feel like it could have been better. I feel like I could not worked on it more, but I feel like I could have figured it out more. You know what I mean? Also, like the using a saturated bit different color for the edge of the light or the shading, like I did with the purple on this one. I was like, you know, I should do this more. Maybe I should listen. Maybe I should listen to the tips. I'm happy about the decision of like not actually doing line art. I wonder if I should do that more or if I shouldn't, because it takes a bit of time and it's also very futzing friendly since you're using an eraser. But also it puts the pressure off of getting perfect lines. So it's, and with that, we're done. So thank you for watching all the way to the end, and I really hope you enjoyed watching me do fan art of a media that I enjoy. Don't forget to check out BIGTOP BURGER Season 3 and worthikids in general, because he does a lot of cool stuff. He put out an album this year too that I've been listening the fuck out of. So all of that is linked. You should really check it out. If you want more of me, I stream on Twitch every Sunday at this time. And I also stream like spontaneously throughout the week, but at least every Sunday at this time. I have a Tumblr where you can check out all my art. I also have a Patreon where you can get all of the drawings from my videos as high-res PNGs. So if you want Cesare on your wall, you can. There you can also get access to my comic and hang out in a cool Discord with the other darling Patreons. Thank you to Erik Mellestal and Dean Sabine for being just the dearest of darlings. And until next time, cheers. And welcome back to another speed draw. I'm tripping up on the intro, man. This is not good. And as usual, I'm just trying to run the nation's worst zombie-themed food truck. That's hard to say. And as usual, I'm just trying to run the nation's worst zombie-themed food truck. Supercalifragilistic yeah, no, I can't do that either. And as usual, I'm just trying to run the nation's worst zombie-themed food truck. We can scramble that together, probably, right? I'm just trying to run the nation's worst. Fuck. Hell. It's just getting worse. No, we can do the scramble, right? I will scramble it. Fuck it. I want to get it in one. I'll get it in one. Roll the tapes. Kind of. Everyone's favorite zombie boy? Zombie man? This guy? Everyone's favorite watcher? I've done Cesare. Cesare? Cesare. Meh. Bad boy. Everyone's favorite? Yeah. Zombie man. Burger selling zombie man? I shouldn't do line art this run. Just starting from like a getting the idea of things. Starting from getting the idea of things, brother. Okay. Okay. Lock in. Commit to the bet. sometimes spontaneously, every Sunday. Every Sunday. Every Sunday. At, I don't know what that is, EST. On this time. We'll do that. Thank you to Erik Mellestal. And until next time. And until next time.